Thank you, Hazel. Hi, everyone. Tess, grateful, recovering addict and alcoholic. It's been a while since I've done a share, so it's really lovely to do this tonight. And I always feel that each time someone does a share, they have something new to bring. I don't know where to start, so I'm just going to start as it comes to me. Tomorrow, I am 5 months clean and sober, which to me, if someone had told me that this time last year, I would have laughed in their face. I have never got to 5 months clean and sober, whether it's been in rehab or, you know, constant therapy or anything. And the way that I've done it is this program. I'm going to start from probably like back when I was little. I believe I've always been an addict. My nan, when I was about 4 months old, said to my mum, she's very self-willed, isn't she? I have always had obsessions with things, whether it was the kids' TV program or the Disney movie on repeat. Everything had to be my way or the highway, the Tess show. And if it was any other way, then it was just not going to happen. And obviously, you know, I've always felt as a child lost, but different to other kids, very different, as I know that a lot of us do feel. I've always thought there's something different, but I've also at the same time always had a belief that there's something else out there that guides us. And I've had trauma as a child. I've got a seriously autistic and handicapped brother who I won't even go into it because I don't want to spend this precious time talking about it, because I want to talk about the solution. But, you know, it doesn't matter what it was, there was trauma. I had everything a child could want, everything. But what I didn't have was emotional support and love from my parents. And that I could have all the material things in the world, but if I didn't have that, then I was on a lost cause. And it's only now in recovery with intense therapy that I'm even aware of this kind of stuff. But anyway, so from about 16, 17, I had depression all of my teenage years. I was very depressed and it was undiagnosed. And I went on antidepressants at 17, went to the Priory, spent time in there. And at 18, I discovered alcohol. I'd never drunk before. I'd always sort of never been something that I'd been interested in. And I went on a holiday to Magaluf, and within 48 hours was drinking constantly, the whole holiday. And it was just from then on. That was one thing. And then about 4 months later, I tried Coke for the first time. And I'd always known I'd wanted to try Coke. It was never something that scared me. It never daunted me. And the minute that line went up my nose, that ease and comfort that I had been looking for my entire life came to me. And within days, again, it escalated within days into a full-on daily habit. I was at uni at the time, but I tried it away from uni. I tried it in my hometown, and it meant that I fucked off all my uni work. I spent my whole time down here. I was lying to my parents, stealing, stealing off them, anything to get my hands on any money to use. This obviously went on. We all know, all of us here, what, the ins and outs of what happens. But, this, of course, turns into drink, drugs, men, anything that changes the way that I feel, anything that I think in my head can provide me external happiness, because I had no idea that happiness comes from within and a higher power. So, this escalates, this goes on, putting myself in situations that I look back on now, and I'm not sure how I'm still sitting here. And it's, yeah, just it sometimes it baffles me to this day, and there must be a higher power, because there is something that saved me occasion after occasion after occasion. I managed to give up the coke when I was about 21 for about a year, and instead just cross addicted straight over to weed. And that just ended, you know, that was a daily thing again. Lost up teen jobs because I just wanted to stay home and smoke. If it wasn't that, it was something else. It's always been something, whether it's food, you know, anything. And about 22, 23 years old, I'm 34 now. So about 11 years ago, I discovered my pub, local pub down the road, and met a guy. And the rest is history. I've only been a year clean from him. It ended up being another sort of obsessional relationship, really unhealthy. But that's when I got back into the coke. And that's when, big time, for the past 10 years, my addiction spiraled into something that I never, ever, ever thought that it would. As we know, it's a very gradual thing. I didn't even know it was happening until it's happened. I was always the last one standing, always. And at 6, 7 a.m. when the birds are tweeting, that's just, I'm just getting started. There's no stop, you know. And I couldn't understand it, that people that I had been in the pub, you know, been with all night in the pub, you know, they're like, oh, I'm tired now, I'm going to go to bed. I was like, what? There was the actual concept of stopping once I had started was terrifying to me. Terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And by about 24, 25, I was, because I had a job in London, which I was just about keeping in between calling in sick and all of that. And you know, my Friday night, I couldn't get on that train fast enough. So disconnected from the world around me, so unbelievably spiritually sick. I couldn't see anything around me. All I could see was that packet and that first drink. That's all I could see. And there was nothing else. Nothing else mattered. Absolutely nothing else mattered until that was in me. But once it was in me, oh my God, the things that I would do, the places that I would go, the people that I would be in places I didn't even know where I was. And this would go on the whole weekend. I don't know how I'd do it, but I would find more. I'd find that person to carry on with. I mean, I remember looking through, sort of Facebook Messenger at 4 a.m. Who's up? Who can I go and party with? Because at that point, it hadn't got to that point yet where I just want to sit in on my own and have a packet and have 6 bottles of Prosecco plus all the rest. That's just getting started for the first day. You know, I wasn't that far in the illness yet. I still wanted to socialize with people. I mean, now I'm like, what? Like, why waste time doing that when I could do it in the comfort of my own home by myself? I don't have to share it then. So, you know, it will go on all weekend, and this would happen weekend after weekend, to the point it will go into the weekdays. And this is all whilst I'm having this on-off toxic relationship with this bloke called Steve, who was 24 years older than me, and I idolized him like God. You know, he was my higher power. No other man matched, but of course there were other men because of the situations that I put myself in, because, you know, it was there, it was what happened. And I was so unwell. I didn't realize how unwell I was. This to me was the norm. I had no other way of coping. There was no other way. And I mean, at this point, yes, after 3 or 4 days, I could stop. This obviously went on and on and on. And I just couldn't understand it, how people around me could call it a night. People around me could go for a couple of drinks, or they could have a packet, and at 4 a.m, 5 a.m, leave and be like, yeah, I fell asleep. There wasn't sleep, didn't sleep. No, there was no food, there was no sleep, there was nothing. All I wanted was the next packet, the next drink, but I was never satisfied, ever, 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 ever satisfied. Even when I had it, I was never satisfied. As I was having that line and having that packet, or you know, at 11 a.m. on a Saturday morning after being up all night, I was thinking about needing the next one because I knew I'd need the next one. I wasn't washing, I wasn't doing anything. But this was all normal to me. I had no other way of coping. The concept of a higher power to me was just like, just non-existent. Anyway, so obviously the COVID came, and March 2020, I went into rehab. But it was like a day rehab where I did it all on Zoom, you know, during lockdown. And yeah, you know, I was sober, but we weren't taught about the program or anything like that. And all I could do for 3 months was I just couldn't wait to get and put my hands on that drink again. So I went in March 2020, came out July, and was straight back on it. By October 2020, I had decided it was a really good idea to get my own flat. What a brilliant idea in the midst of addiction to move out of mum's so I can get my own flat. And of course I wouldn't, in my head, I wasn't going to use then. It would all be different then. It would all be different. Each time I had that use up, oh, I'm not doing it again. It's shit. I can't do it anymore. 5 days later, back on it. And so from then, now that I had my own space to use in, that's when it went to the whole next level of days and days and days. And I didn't need to bother about seeing anyone. I could do it in the comfort of my own home, didn't have to share, no one had to see me, you know, all of that. And what happened was in October of 2020, shortly after I moved in, I had a huge sesh, and then had something to eat like 4 days later, and went into anaphylactic shock and woke up on a resus table being told you have serious food allergies, won't bother going into it, that are triggered when you drink alcohol. Needless to say, from then on up until 5 months ago, I have been in hospital no less than 32 times to do with my drinking and using and allergies and all of that. And I mean, again, this is what shows about the program. This shows that, you know, I'm being told by a doctor, you can fucking die if you mix drink and eat these foods, or, you know, you carry on drinking. They're saying you've got a fatty liver when they were doing up-teen scans. Did it stop me? No. Anyone else without a problem would be like, right, that's it. They'd have no qualms, that's it. But if anything, it just made me want to do it more, because I wanted to be able to do it. I wanted to be like all the other muggles out there. And you know, this has gone on, and each time it's got worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's at the point where, you know, I'm having a user and I'm not even enjoying it. What will happen was the next day I'd wake up after blacking out and be using against my will. I couldn't stop. I had to get more. I had to ring the dealer. I had to have more. I didn't even want it. But it was at that point in my illness where I was using against my will. And because it comes to the point with us where we have no control over it. We are fucking powerless. We are absolutely powerless. And I knew I was powerless. And I mean, if I could tell you the last time that I ever used, I don't actually remember meeting the dealer. I don't remember, because my drinking had got so bad that I was blacking out constantly. I was fitting, I was blacking out, you know, and I don't remember meeting that dealer. I don't remember it, and I don't want to remember it. I don't remember my last line, thank God. I don't remember it. I don't ever want to remember it. All I can say now is that 5 months tomorrow, I have had the most peace in my life than I have ever had in 34 years. How I got there was over a year ago. So I'd say September last year, I came on a meeting, you know, 2 days after a sesh, oh, I'm never going to do this again. You know, those couple of days where, you know, you're repulsed by it because you've overdone it for a week. And if you're not doing a program, it'll come back and bite you in the arse again, and you'll find yourself right back where you were unless you have a program. And I heard a lady called Chanel talk. And I'd been to lots of different meetings, but listening to Chanel's chair, absolutely, I was gobsmacked. It was like looking in the mirror. And me and Shan are from totally different backgrounds, circumstances, and it was like looking in the mirror. And the next day I contacted Chanel and said, please, will you sponsor me? And by the grace of God, she said yes. As Chanel would tell you, it took us a very long time to get through the steps. That was due to my self-will, relapsing, oh, I can't do this. And I wanted it so badly. I wanted it. But there was something in me initially that was reserving myself because I would not give myself up to this program fully and truly. And we got through the steps. And I mean, the first steps, you know, obviously, I want to talk about really quickly because I know I haven't got a lot of time. I like to go through the 12 steps over how I perceive them. The 12 steps, first of all, number one, admitting that you're powerless. And that's not so many words. It's basically saying, I can't fucking do this anymore. I've had enough. I'm scared. I don't know how to stop, but I know that I need to stop and want to stop. And I know that there is somewhere in me that wants a better life for myself. Number two, coming to believe. Think of all the times when we wanted the dealer to show up. Oh, the number of times, please, God, please let that be him. Please let that be him. Thank you, noted. Please let that be him. Please let it be him. You know, after I've called him 30 times within a space of 15 minutes. You know, if we can get on our knees and pray to God and pray, you know, whatever, there is something out there, I believe, for all of us. And I think it's different for all of us, but there is something out there that is looking out for us, because the very fact we're sitting here in this meeting now alive means that there is something looking out for us, because I'm pretty sure all of us have been in some really shitty situations where we shouldn't have really made it out. 3, made a decision to turn our lives and will over to this higher power. It doesn't have to be God as we know it in the Bible. For me personally, it is God, but whatever floats your boat, whatever gets you up in the morning, whatever gets you through your day when you're feeling like you want to fat use up, okay? Turning your will over to anytime you want, as many times as you want throughout the day. And as those days turn into weeks, those weeks turn into months, and before you know it, you're sitting here doing a chair. Number 4, inventory. Well, as Chanel will tell you, my inventory was a mile long. I've still got people that I need to do, about 150 people on the list. There's always more. There's always more. And it was always everybody else's fault. Oh, not me. I'm so nice. Oh my God, like I'm such a nice person. Like, why does this stuff happen to me? When I sat and did it on step 4, I sat and I said to Shan, I mean, Shan had to, bless her heart, she heard it all. She had to listen to every single girl that I'd done the dirty on with her bloke, you know, things like that, where I'm like, oh my God, like I'm so nice. And in the madness, you just don't see it. And I sat there and I went, Shan, I'm a massive cunt. And oh my God. And to this day, at least I know this now, and I can do that inventory every single day. 5, admitting it. So obviously admitting it to your sponsor, just get it all out. Don't leave anything unturned. And if if not, write it down, just get it out of your body. Asking our God to remove these defects. This is a daily thing. It's a daily thing. You do it every single day, because our defects will never go away. They just show up in different ways. But by doing this program, we can be aware of it and therefore not use it as an excuse to relapse and be back on day 1. Amends. So doing the amends, yes, it's fucking hard, it's not in our nature, but oh my God, does it feel good? And you'll know when it's right. You'll know when it's right, whether it's even you write it in a letter and burn it after, which I've had to do. But for the people that you can make an amends to, make an amends, because it's how free, as Chanel says to me, how free do you want to be? Because the freer we are, the less there is going on in there that's going to go, oh, you want a drink, you want to use up, you know, you want a pipe, you want a fucking line, don't you? Because it won't ever just be one. 10, taking personal inventory every single day. And do you know what, that by doing that, the next day I wake up and I look and I think, well, that bothered me yesterday, so I'm not going to let it bother me today. And there's a brilliant rapid step 10 that I have to use sometimes twice a day, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. 11, prayer and meditation. As we know, in the beginning, it's something that baffles people, but I couldn't live without it. And it can be something as simple as being quiet for 30 seconds whilst your mind is playing Cunt FM round and round and round and round on repeat. 12, carry the message. I always thought, oh God, who's going to want to listen to me? Who's going to want to listen to me? Me sitting in ego. Oh, it's all about me. Tess show. Who's going to want to listen to me? It doesn't matter. This is about passing on the message to save lives. The fact that we are all here, we are already, should be thanking ourselves by the grace of God, that we are here and able to be sober today, just for today. That's all we need to worry about. And I'm just going to leave it on, please, if you have any doubt, get a sponsor, speak to someone, reach out. And I know how daunting it is, but once you get over, like what I like to call the rainbow, it is so much easier, and each day it gets easier, and the more benefits, the longer you go, the more rewards, the more benefits you reap. And this is just the most incredible program. Please stick with it, and thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, Tess, thank you.
Thanks, Tess. Well done.